exciting.
Oh, good.
Hi, Jim.
Welcome, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
Our friend Steve Mazuski's on with us. Wonderful.
Hi,
We're going to
everybody.
give folks just a minute or two to hop on. And we're going to turn it over to Jim, our guest speaker for the day, okay?
I also
Hey, Steve, long time no see. How you been?
Good.
I called you, asked for the
Good.
PIN number. Yes.
Okay, well, I didn't.
Oh, that's good.
It's nice to see you
Well, I
too.
miss seeing you,
Yeah, I haven't
Steve.
seen you in a while.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah, wow.
Yes, I need some. Yes.
Hi, Deb.
Hi.
Yeah.
I just had better today. Thank you for
I'm glad
telling me.
you're feeling better, Alicia. I'm glad you're able to be on the call. That's great.
Oh,
Hey,
I
Lisa,
just
congratulations
said
on your
morning, so
award
it's
for
like-
Hall of Fame.
There's no sound.
Yeah, Alicia received the Spirit of Life Award at our Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah, congratulations.
Wow.
Thank you.
And
Oh,
Brian,
go nice on Facebook.
right, Brian? He co-hosted with Renee Janino. Great job.
Oh, right.
Hi,
right,
Kimberly.
Hey, May.
Hey, good friend.
Yeah. Hi, Kimberly.
Hey.
Here comes Aaron. We got a couple more people hopping on. Gino's with us today.
Hey.
Hi.
Wait,
How are you, Deb?
Debbie's
How's
going to be our
everybody doing?
speaker next time.
That's right.
who is?
Couple
Zena,
more weeks.
I'll see you tonight at 6.
Oh, nice.
There's Aaron joining.
Oh.
Getting ready, hopping on. We got a nice Debbie.
Hey, Gino.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing?
Here comes Ian.
Looking forward to hearing you speak pretty soon.
Yeah, a couple more weeks. We're getting there.
Oh, yeah.
I
We'll
won't
get
be
to.
on
Not
that.
fast enough.
I'll
Guys,
see you
just
tonight
wrapped
for
up
the
on 4 o'clock. So I think
I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
put
get
myself on
started.
mute,
We have
Debbie.
plenty of time to hear from Jim and for him to answer your questions. So I got a great bio on him and I sent it to some of you. I sent it to all of you this morning, but just in case you didn't get a chance to.
Oh, yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on.
You want to read it?
Read through it really quick so you guys have a little bit of background on him, okay? And then we're gonna let him take over and share all his experiences with us, okay? So here we go.
All right, go ahead.
That is first. Why don't we all go on mute now? I think that would probably be a good idea, right?
Oh, okay.
All right, excellent, you guys. Jim Finlay spent the first part of his career as an NCAA men's lacrosse coach for the Division I level. Jim has coached at some of the top academic and athletic universities in the country and most recently served as the defensive coordinator at Harvard University in Cambridge, Massachusetts. In high school, Jim was a multi-sport athlete, football, basketball, and lacrosse in Windsor, Connecticut. Early on, Jim was passionate about leading and developing student athletes and coaches. Jim's affiliation with the Special Olympics of Connecticut started in 1993 to 1994. He served as a soccer and floor hockey coach for about 2 years. Jim has been with Northwestern Mutual for 7 years this year. Presently, he is the Chief Recruitment Officer at Northwestern Mutual, West Hartford's network office, where he spends a great deal of time recruiting, developing, and coaching financial representatives across Connecticut, including Hartford, New Haven, and Springfield. In his free time, Jim likes hiking, spending time with his 2 yellow labs, Hurricane and Mojo, and enjoys vacationing at the Outer Banks, North Carolina. So without further ado, it's my great pleasure to welcome Jim. Jim, take it away.
Right. Thank you very much for the kind
Jim.
introduction. And
Hi,
I've
Kim.
been under the weather the last couple of days, and I can already see that this is going to be my best meeting of the day, and I'm really energized. I could see the energy in all of you guys. So thank you for having me. And, you know, I have a loose little format just about, you know, some of the things that I want to talk to, but I also want to make sure that we have opportunities for you to ask me any questions. So there's a lot of things that I would like to cover today, and we could talk for hours on all these things, but I guess I'll just start with really, you know, coaching. My first real coaching, you know, official head coaching job was with the Special Olympics. And I was working with a small private school down in Durham, Connecticut, which is not open anymore. And they were just looking for somebody that knew something about sports. And I said, well, I think I do. And I was like, I'd love to volunteer to help you guys out. So at the time we were down at Connecticut College, and I certainly didn't know too much about soccer, although that was the first sport that I ever played. I played soccer and football at the same time when I was growing up because they were all on alternating days. So anyways, I'll never forget it. It was a great experience. I'm excited to get back into this. Thank you to Debbie for having me speak today, and also for Steve Rzuski, who, many of you know, but he's new to our organization, and we're doing so many great things together. And I'm excited to get back into an organization like this. So I guess I would really start with, I want to challenge you guys to maybe start to formulate some answers to the question that I'm going to ask you. And it's going to start with one word, and it's why. And if you have a pen, I'd like you to write down the word why. All right. And the reason I'm going to ask you to do that is I think it's really, really good to be curious. I think it's really, really good to ask questions. And questions allow you to learn more about others, to learn new things, and it allows you to have a better understanding of what's going on around you. We will never stop asking the question why, and that's not a bad thing. But what I want you to start to think about as I'm talking today is, what is your why? So I'll tell you a little bit and share about my why. Let's just start with, why did I get into coaching? Why did I get into athletics? Why did I get into sports? And it's a pretty simple answer for me. I grew up with my mom, and I grew up with my 4 siblings, and I had no dad. And I had a lot of energy, and I was, one of those guys that was asking a lot of questions, and my mother got me into sports. She knew that that was going to give me some great role models, some great leadership, and some great coaches. So I started out playing soccer. Then I went to soccer and football. Then I played basketball. Then as I progressed, obviously I started these things as a youth level, went all the way up into middle school, and I went into high school, and then I went on to play collegiately. And so when I got into, sports, it really was because it gave me a sense of community. It gave me a sense of pride in being part of a team and really working with those around me. It gave me structure. It gave me discipline. It gave me fun. And it taught me a lot of things about, you don't win every game. You lose, you win, but you keep on moving forward because you love it. And I loved sports. I loved competing. I loved going to practice. I loved going to the games. I loved putting on the uniform. I loved working hard for my coaches. That was just something that I wanted to do and took great pride in. So, I got into sports not knowing that all of those things were going to help me throughout my entire life. It helped me in high school. It helped me in college. And this day, working with Steve Rzuski in my job right now, it helps me every single day because I still have the same leadership skills. I still have the same work ethic. I still have the same ability to impact others in a positive manner. And I would say that my why of why I got into sports is because I really wanted to be part of a team, part of a group, part of a culture, a sense of belonging. And that's really what has driven me throughout sports in my entire life. And the reason I'm sharing that with you is, as a coach, as a leader, you have no idea the impact that you can have on others. And that's a really, really important thing. I would say that, one of our values in our company is to impact others, impact our communities. And I think there's no better way to do that within sports. So I would share, I'm, obviously I still am a coach in a lot of ways. I feel like I coach in the office. I feel like I coach outside of that. My last coaching, yes, collegiately, was at Harvard University, and that was great. And I'll probably share with you why I got out of it. At that level, you have to travel around the country a great deal. And when I say travel around the country, it means that every weekend, just about out of the year, I was working or traveling. And so I got a little bit tired of that because we had to recruit people from all over the country, high schools everywhere, California, Texas, Florida. And so being on a plane or on a train or in a car, after a while, after many years, it kind of wears you down. And I want to be kind of in one place. So I am here in Windsor, where I grew up. My mom lives right down the road, and I'm able to, have a career and manage my personal life and spend time with my dogs and hike and go to the beach and do the things that I want to do. When you get to that level, your life is dominated by the sport. And I always think there should be some balance in your life and sports and those things. So That's one of the reasons that I got out of it, because people always ask me that. I came into Northwestern Mutual. I didn't know anything really about what the job was going to be, but I knew I had the skills that I probably developed in my coaching career and in my playing career, that I knew that were going to be very transferable into this job, which every single day I use those skills. So that's why I got out of it a little bit. But I guess what I wanted you to share is what you wanted to say. I told you my why. My best role models, my best mentors, the people that I learned how to work hard from and learn and all those things were my coaches. I didn't grow up with a dad. So I had to have some role models in my life that were going to give me maybe some of those parental, attributes that maybe my mom couldn't give me, because she was working full time and raising 5 kids by herself. And ironically, I'm the only athletic one in our whole damn family. The rest of our family, they can't really do too much, but that's okay. And so it's okay that we all have different skill sets and we're all different, but that was my passion. And I still carry it through to this day. The best relationships that I've ever had in my life came through sports. It came through my coaches. It came through my teammates. Those are the best relationships I've ever had in my life. And I can't even tell you how valuable that is. And I can't even tell you how valuable the impact that you have on others when you take the time to coach some other people. But when I go back to your why, sometimes you should be asking that to other people. Why do you play the sport? Why do you like this sport? Why do you like competition? Why do you like being on this team? And then what I ask you too is, why do you like to coach? Maybe your answer is the same as mine. Maybe it's different. They can all be different. But I think asking the question why helps you to understand others better. It helps you to build stronger relationships. It helps you to have a overall vision that you could have many players on your team and they can all have a different why. They could all want to play for a different reason. Maybe it's the uniform. Maybe it's the camaraderie of the team. Maybe it's they just love to be around the people and the energy. All of those are good things. And everybody's why does not have to be the same at all. And I would say that the more you start asking this question about players and other people, the more you're going to have a better understanding. So the next thing I want you to kind of focus in on is, so when I would in coaching, I would have a practice plan that was done minute by minute. Probably the shortest thing would be maybe 5 minutes, because I don't believe you can get too much done between 1 and 5 minutes, but 5 minutes. And so every segment was on there from the time we started practice to what we were doing in that drill to where they were going to be. Everything was structured out. But the last thing on the practice plan was a motivational quote. And that quote had something to do with what we were going through. Maybe we had just lost a big game. Maybe we were on a winning streak. It had something to do with what we were going through. And as I said, a coach is a teacher. A teacher is a coach. It is the same thing. It is educating others. Sometimes it's in the classroom. Sometimes it's on the sports field. And I always thought that a great coach was a great teacher. So when I would have that quote, I would have to keep it short, because at the end of the practice, people didn't, they read it? I put it on there because I wanted them to know what we were doing, why we were doing it. And I wanted to know if they read the practice plan or not. It was always posted before the practice. Well, not everybody always came out of there and read the quote, but even if they didn't, I liked it when other team members were telling them the quote, because that's teams sticking together. And I didn't mind that too much, all right? But they knew it was important, because at the end of the practice, if they didn't know the quote, well, maybe I would single that person out or make them have to do something funny or an extra lap or something like that. But I wanted them because it was really important. So I'm going to share a quote with you that I think probably resonates with you and all of us every single day. And the quote is this: do not get what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. Do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. And that's a very, very famous basketball coach named John Wooden, who coached at UCLA for many, many years. And he won 7 national championships on the collegiate level. And I just think that that's a really great thing for you to understand, that everybody has different skills. Everybody has different assets. Not everybody is the same. And when you think about a team, for lacrosse, it's 10 players on the field at once. You have a goalie, you have 3 attackmen, you have 3 midfielders that go back and forth, you have 3 defensemen, and then you have like specialized positions. They don't all do the same thing, but they all have value to that team, and they all have winning. I guess another analogy I would give you is, think about this: football. We watch a game of football, a kicker. They might touch the ball 2 or 3 times in the game, but they can dictate if that game is won or not. They're not big, strong guys on the line, that are weighing 350 pounds in the NFL, but they have really good value to that team. So I would say you've got to appreciate the things that people can do rather than focus on what they can't do. And I think that's a really big, lesson I want to give you in coaching, is try to identify what somebody is good at. Try to identify with somebody maybe what they like to do. And then from there, you can put the pieces together to create a good, cohesive team that can get out there and be a team and compete and win. Now, winning, it's not about winning all the time. And I would say in my coaching career, I know I'm slightly above on the winning category than I am on the losing category. And I've lost in some of the biggest, when I was coaching at Springfield College, I lost in the national championship, the Division II national championship. And we got beat by 3 goals, and their key players were better than we were on that day, and they beat us. They beat us by 3 goals. It was a great game. It was really competitive. And I don't let that define me. Doesn't mean that I didn't want to go out and compete again and find another way to win. But I learned some tough lessons in that. I thought that they might have been a little bit more prepared than we were. I thought that we didn't do enough things to negate their face-off guy, who was really, really good. And ironically, that guy went to the same college that I did. He ended up transferring to another school, and I was a couple of years ahead of him. And so I actually played with him on my team, and that guy was the one that came out and beat us. So I would also say transition into a little bit of what is a coach. A coach is an educator, a coach is a leader, and a coach is somebody that brings out the best in others. I'm going to leave that last one again. I'm going to say that last one again. A coach is someone that brings out the best in others. And that means that you got to find out and ask the questions why of what they want to do, how they want to do it, what are they willing to do to get better. And by asking that question, you can become a better leader. And I think the world needs a lot more leaders. And there's all different types of leaders. So I'll share with you what type of leader I am. And I've done a lot of work. I've taught these things. I am what's called a servant leader. And a servant leader is just like the word sounds, is about serving others, making others do well, making them achieve their goals. And when the team does well, then I sit in the background and I say, okay, that's great. And so I do that every single day. And the job that I have now is I serve our managing partner. He's my boss. I make sure that I'm doing everything I can to make him look good, to make him win. But I have so many talented people around me that I need to serve them as well. And so I know that I take more credit, not in the win, but I take more credit in seeing others celebrate the win. And I guess that's maybe what I liked about coaching is when I was an athlete, I got to impact my own life. When I was a coach, I got to impact so many more lives. I got to have so much more impact on others. And if I had to trade the whistle, for the cleats, I would trade the, I wouldn't trade the whistle whatsoever. And when I say the whistle, obviously we have a coach at whistle where we're coaching all the time and get things moving right there and gets them to pay attention. But I would say that impacting others and coaching a bigger group, a bigger team year in and year out, that was something that really gave me great satisfaction over the years and still to this day does. So I was able to do it in high school for about 2 years, and high school and college are 2 different things. In high school, they get out of school different. They don't drive. It was a really big adjustment for me, but I really enjoyed it because I had so much knowledge to give and I wanted to try it. And I never coached on the high school level. I coached high school players, but I just wanted to see what it was like. And I actually got a great deal of enjoyment out of that. And I'm proud to say that many of those kids went on to play collegiately and are still playing collegiately. So I was able to impact them. I was able to help them get into college. I was able to help them have a successful collegiate career. Those are the things that I am proud of. It's not the wins or the losses. And when I coached there, we lost in the semifinals of the state championship 2 years in a row. So we had great success. We just were a little bit short, and that's okay, because you can always come back the next year and try and be a little bit better. And so for me, I've coached youth, I've coached high school, I've coached collegiately. There is professional lacrosse, but that's something I really haven't, ever coached. And it was very rewarding to me to coach on those levels. I've coached my nieces, my nephews. I have 7 nieces and 7 nephews. Every single one of them played lacrosse, and they played all throughout high school. Every single one of my nieces and nephews. And you know where it started? On the beaches of North Carolina, just having a little toss with a ball while we were on the beach every day. So my impact goes greater. I would say my greatest maybe accomplishment as a coach is I was able to take one of my really good friends, Mark Graham is his name. He lives here in Windsor as well, just had a baby. And he was a high school coach. And I gave him the opportunity to come coach for me collegiately. And he did that for about 5 years. And when I got out of coaching, he is still a collegiate coach. He's been a wonderful coach at both Vassar, and he's now Eastern Connecticut State University men's lacrosse. I was actually able to give him a full-time career in coaching. Now, he earned it. I helped him get there. And that to this day is probably one of my greater, accomplishments of, I would say, the legacy of what I left. And so legacy is another word that I want to talk about. If you're going to be a good coach and you've got athletes on your team, well, guess what? You might inspire them to be the next coach of your Special Olympic team. And that's a really important legacy and a really good story to tell. And I coached collegiately because my best coach that I ever had was my college coach, Hank Janzik. He just retired last year. And he taught us about, you don't need to know your position. You need to know that position. He taught us as a great teacher, as a great educator. And the more that you know, the more that you can impact a team and the more that you can influence. So I would say Hank Janzik was probably my biggest motivator to get me into collegiate coaching. And I still have a very good relationship with him today. And I'm happy to see him retire. He's earned it. He coached at my college, my alma mater, for 32 years. Never won a national championship, played in 2 national championships there. And yet he didn't win it. And yet he's still one of the best coaches out there. So it's not always about the win. It's a lot more about the impact that you have on others. In his tenure, he had more than 25 guys go into collegiate coaching. That's a pretty big impact if you ask me. All right. He did something that made them say, I want to be you. I want to be in that position right there. And so many of those guys are still great friends of mine. And I live the game and I follow what's going on. I just don't have to travel anymore to do it. And I can do some other things in my life, but I'm still passionate about sports. I'm still passionate about coaching. And most importantly, I think I'm passionate about leadership. And I think we just remember what I said. Leadership is about making those around you better. It's making them achieve their goals. It's making them, find out what their why might be. And that's the best lesson I can give you about sports. But if I had to, and I'll let Debbie kind of maybe mitigate this, I would love to understand a few people here and say, what is your why? Like, why do you coach? Why are you in leadership and why are you involved in Special Olympics? So I'm going to let Debbie single somebody out and ask them.
All right, we're going to go into our views so we could see everybody again. I see some hands up, so maybe we'll start with some of those folks. And if you guys want to raise your hand or type in the chat box, I'll try to get to as many people as I can.
Okay. Debbie's in charge of this whole thing. All I'm doing is asking because I got so many people on the screen.
There's a lot of people with their hands up with questions and comments, so this is great. Vincent, do you want to get started? You can unmute yourself.
I see Vincent.
There you go. Okay.
Oh, what? What am I gonna do?
You're good. You're good.
Oh, good heavens. Oh, by the way, what?
What's your question, Vincent? Go ahead. We can hear you.
I don't know who that guy who
Jim. His name is Jim.
name is Jim.
His name is Jim.
Yeah.
Did you have a question or did you want us to come back to you?
No.
Okay.
All
We
right.
can come back to you later. All right. How about Aaron? Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. I'm
Go,
going to
Aaron.
give you 1,000 reasons of the word why. All right. I'll go slow with everybody else so everybody will understand. Okay. Why did I join Special Olympics? Because I like it. Why did I run? Because I was great at things and helping people to achieve their goal of being not just saying being as winners of Special Olympics. Why did I mostly get into the global messengers for Special Olympics? Because I like talking to people and expressing things about what we do in our own field of what we do. Why do I like to go to work? Because I want to get paid. I want to make sure like I have money in my pocket. Why do I want to make sure that I see things around me though? Because it's great when you see things and knowing exactly what's going on around you, and that's how we know about all our whys. When we know our whys and everything else, it's more like it's what, the who, the how, and the when. And that's when we have to know exactly what we have to do. And that was a good one where you said why. That was you mostly saying why did you coach? Why did you go on your vacations? Why do you love your dogs? Why do you love everything? You love everything because you're you. You are you, you are yourself. And this is why we're here coaching, teaching, hearing things from you to learn about the things about what you do to make us better. And that's good.
100%, Aaron. I couldn't. You've obviously put some thought into it, and you know the answer to that. And I certainly commend you for that. And then what I would challenge you to do is now I want you to make sure that all those around you, all of those people that you're coaching, all those people you're impacting, ask that same question, because sometimes people don't know, and you're helping them formulate the things that they're passionate about and the reasons they do it. So excellent job. I would come play for you tomorrow.
And I probably have one more thing. I'd be saying to myself, like, why I'm sweating? Because it's really hot though, or something like that. Because the sun's up. It's a beautiful day. We're all here.
Well, here's what you and I have in common, Aaron. We both have a great haircut.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Thanks
So that
much,
was great.
Aaron.
Thank you for sharing, Aaron.
All right, let's hop over to Ashley LeBeau.
I just wanted to say that I became a Special Olympics cheerleader in 2010, and I have been one of the co-captains of my personal team. So they
Awesome.
always ask me, why are we doing this? And I say, because we're practicing for our events and we cannot give up on this. And sometimes I have to remind them that they cannot talk over the other coaches, because there are 4 teams and we have over 100 athletes for our whole team. And sometimes it's hard. And sometimes you just have to think, oh, if you don't win, you're having fun. But we don't really understand that until we're actually there. So sometimes I just look in the mirror, I'm like, you gotta do this today. Why? And then I say, because you can focus on that and then be able to hang out with your friends or go shopping or other things like that. And it helps me get through a lot of stress And I've been helping people out too. So I've been like helping them with their anxiety or like other things that I've been through myself. So when I help them, they feel better.
Absolutely, Ash. I couldn't agree more. And it's funny, like if you looked at a sport like football, average number of games is about 10 in a year. And yet they probably have over 180 practices. So a lot of people don't realize that you have to practice more than you play, and you practice so that you can perform well in the games. But I don't know. I was one of the guys that I loved practice as much as I loved the games. I just had fun playing and fun competing. And it sounds like you do that as well. Back to yours about not talking over the coaches. I had one rule. When I'm talking, nobody else is talking. That was my one rule.
Sometimes some of the athletes have a hard time with that.
Sure.
So like I'm like, the coach is talking, you shouldn't be talking over the coach, because then all the other coaches get mad, and then all the other people get mad. And then some of them just like quit the team because of that, because they're trying to explain to them how they're feeling. And sometimes it just makes them very stressed out to a point where like, I don't want to be here anymore. I guess I have to quit the team. And then for my team, there are like 10 girls that are my age. So I just like tell them like, take your time. Don't rush yourself. You gotta make sure that you can do what you can do. And then if we need to switch it all up, we can, because it can be hard, because we have to do stunts and lifts up in the air, and it's beyond crazy, but at least we're able to like get it done and have fun.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And you're right. What I would kind of piggyback on what you said is no two athletes are the same. No two athletes are going to respond to the same way that you talk to them. And the fun challenge about coaching is figuring out, how does Debbie tick? How does Ashley tick? How does Vincent? Like, that's kind of another thing that I really enjoyed. Every year, the team was different. And every year I had to get to know different people. And in college, we could recruit those people, and we brought them in. And that was, a lot of fun. But we got to know their high school coach, their club coach, their parents, their siblings. And so I think that's a big, important part of it. But you got to realize that I don't know that you can coach every single person the same way. When I was younger, I thought that was how you had to do it. Everyone had to do it my way. It had to be the same way. And you want to have some consistency, but I would also say you want to have some flexibility in that. You don't know how someone's day's going. You don't know if they've had a bad week. I just shared with you today. I mean, I was sick on Saturday, Sunday, and even yesterday. And yet, here I am. This is the thing I looked most forward to, is coming back. And I didn't even tell Steve, like, I'm not missing this meeting. I will be on this meeting. I'm talking to fellow coaches, athletes. I was like, I need to be on this meeting because that's going to energize me. So you're right. I would also say about cheerleading, when you watch it on TV at like a high level, I can't even tell you how athletic it is, how hard it is, how disciplined it is. I think cheerleading might be one of the most disciplined sports out there. And yet some people will say it's not a sport. I 100% disagree. It is a sport, and it is recognized that way throughout much of the country, but it is a really good sport. And without cheerleading, without support, my biggest cheerleader was my mom. She didn't even know what was going on in the game. She'd just be out there clapping and saying, good job, Jim. And even when I made a mistake, the world needs great cheerleaders as well. So that's thanks for sharing that story.
And also sometimes our cheerleaders show up, and sometimes we have to tell them like, go home, because sometimes they show up and they're sick, and you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be healthy, and you're supposed to be ready to go, not be like, oh, I'm sick, I can't be here. It's like, what are you doing here? I'm like,
Well, that's a good example. Is sometimes you have to put the team first, right? And if you're sick and you get everybody else on the team sick, that's actually why I'm at home right now. I'm not in our office with Steve today, is that I didn't want to put my team members at risk and have them go through what I went through this weekend. So I just said, let me take another day before I go back to the office. And then even there, I'll probably not see too many people in person. So it's another example of teamwork. Absolutely. Good questions, good answers. Who else, Debbie?
Excellent.
I'd
Let's go
rather hear
over to
from these guys. I
Kimberly.
don't want to talk to them all day.
Let's go to Kimberly. She's got her hand up. She's been holding it high.
Okay.
Kimberly.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, why I'm an athlete is because I want to be more active and also to see people or like my friends, like to be more social and not just see them in person or just talk to them. To and then also why am I a health messenger? It's mostly is because part of my job is to make sure that like as a health messenger, like my goal is to like make healthy choices and make them like making good healthy choices and trying to have balanced eating. And that ties into my medical reason why I do medical. My brothers, because they're in the medical field. And then when I was in high school, I did a health class. I passed the class, got an A in the class, but I didn't get certified for a first aid or a CPR. And I was like, that's something that I really want to do. So I was lucky enough that my brothers was in the medical field, and I got lucky enough that I got certified. So now I'm on the Special Olympics medical team. So I can like share my knowledge with medical, with my siblings being in the field, and I'm able to help out who never but they needed it for assistance.
Thank you for sharing that, because what you do is just as important as the coach. And I think that, you know, at the collegiate level, we have strength trainers, we have athletic trainers, we have nutritionists, and right, to be a good athlete, but I really think to anybody, everybody's worried about their health. I mean, I'm obviously worried about mine right now, but I'm just kind of like, you know, I think it's really, really important. If you want to be a top performing athlete or a coach, you've got to take care of yourself. And I think those things are really important. So I commend you for going and getting, you know, those certifications, because it is just as valuable. And that's part of a team, right? You have your thing that you're good at and you do. The coaches have their thing, the players have their things, but you are still an active participant. And that's really, really important. So great job. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Excellent. Let's go to Justin then Allie. So go ahead, Justin Prince.
Hi, Justin.
Hello. So as far as my why as to join the Special Olympics, at first it was all about, you know, wanting to play sports and play games and stuff. And but then as I got older, it kind of became, and it was the reason I wanted to become a global messenger. It kind of became about spreading the message of inclusion and kind of getting everybody together, and you know, everybody gets an equal opportunity, you know, to participate, and everybody gets a chance.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And a funny thing about me is I love to watch sports and I love to watch the Olympics, but I actually spend more time watching the Paralympics than I do the regular Olympics. Because if you want to look at these people that are overcoming odds like I've never seen before, and you see their athleticism, you see their determination, you see their will to win, to me, that inspires me even more than the Olympic athletes, who inspire me a great deal too. But I always spend more time watching the Paralympics, because to me, I just think that they have something that I don't think a regular athlete has. They have a lot of similarities, but they're dealing with it in a different level. And whether that's a physical, a mental, there's so many different disabilities in this world. But I agree with you. I think that finding a level playing ground and finding a way to still be passionate about a sport or a team or competition, that's the real win. It's not the other stuff. All right. It's really that. So I appreciate you sharing that. And my career changed too. When I was younger, it was all about winning. And, you know, I was still an athlete, to be honest with you. And I was just worried about doing my own job. And as I got a little bit older, I don't know, maybe I just became a little bit more mature and thought that it's about a lot of the things that we're talking about today. And it just talking to you guys is making me miss a lot of my teammates, players, coaches. It's going to make me reach out to all these guys later on and probably just say, hey, I was thinking about you. Just want to say thanks. You know, you were a great part of my journey. And it is a journey, right? You're always moving, you know, in a direction. Sometimes you move back and sometimes you take a leap forward, but it's a wonderful journey if you just kind of sit back and enjoy the ride. It's never easy. It's never, you know, every day's different. And you don't win every game. You don't lose every game. But I just think it's the people that make the journey that much more impactful, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Who else we got, Debbie?
How about Allie? Go ahead next, Allie.
Hello, Allie.
Okay. Hi, Jim. Okay, I got my why and 2 questions to ask you.
Okay.
Okay, first, my why is because with the Penguin Plunge, one of my favorite events, I did a fundraiser this year to help support Special Olympics Penguin Plunge. It's at my job. And what I did as for my why is I told people about it, how to get involved, and what they can do to support us Special Olympic athletes. And then we had like this big bake sale where I raised a lot of money and they gave it to them. And the other why is to make sure people do it for fun.
Good, because it is
Yeah.
supposed to be fun. So I'm going to
Yep.
challenge you then, because I have never done a penguin plunge.
Oh
Never
no,
done it.
it's really a lot of fun. I tried to get my friend to do it this year, but he couldn't make it.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, you're going to get Steve and I involved and we're going to join your penguin plunge. I
Oh,
guarantee you
really?
that.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
about next
And
year?
hey, let me tell you something else. When I swim in the ocean in North Carolina, that water's 80 degrees. So this is going to be really, really hard for me.
Oh, I've been to Raleigh.
Yes. Actually, where I go to the beach is about 2 hours away from there. So been
Yeah.
going down there my whole life.
And my question is, how did Northwest Mutual get involved in Special Olympics with you guys?
It's a good question. I think Northwestern Mutual is a very large company throughout the whole United States. We're a very, very big business, but we operate almost like small businesses in different areas. So our territory is really, you know, throughout Connecticut, a little bit of Massachusetts, and that's the area that Steve and I are involved in. And, but what I would say is we're involved in every philanthropic charity that you can imagine. I'll give you one that I'm passionate about. It's called Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation. And Alex, by the time she passed away when she was 10, she raised, you know, over, you know, $1 million for pediatric cancer. Northwestern Mutual adopted that as their charity of choice and has given over $17 million over the last 6 years. So that's just one. That's just one. But Steve got me involved with you guys because we want to start getting our company and our local, what we call a general agency, which we're based out of West Hartford. We have office in New Haven, Springfield, and Hartford. We want to find ways to get a little bit more involved with you all too, this is just the first step in all of that. So
Allie,
good
Allie,
question.
I was the one that brought him in today. So
Oh,
I've
you
been
did.
so long, and it's this one. I was happy to see you guys, but it was not me talking. Today was Jim.
And my other question, Jim, to ask, your presentation you did, is it all right, like, if we do an interview, like, with other places to see how people get involved with Special Olympics and ask them why questions?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, right? It's just,
Yeah.
it's being, back to what I said originally, right? It is really good to be curious. It's really good to be curious. And I mean, I don't know, I see something on TV and I'm like, oh, I want to learn a little bit more about that. Sometimes I research the book or I ask somebody about it. So like, I know that everyone thinks that sports is my only interest, but I have so many interests in my life. And I just tried to be intellectually curious every day of my life. Now I get to do it because I get to interview people and ask them questions about what's important to them. What are they passionate about? But don't ever stop asking the question why I'm being curious. Don't ever do that.
Yeah, because my friend that I work with, I always want to ask him why questions about the war that he was in and how he got involved with Special Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
and,
I
you
know a lot more with what he does too. And same thing with everybody else that I work
well,
with.
I think like with an athlete or someone like that, if you're talking to, the more that you can understand them or what drives them or what they're passionate about, the more you can understand them. And most importantly, the more that you can connect with them. So this world, like I always tell people when I meet them and they're young, it's like, you know, how many people are you friends with? And they'll give me a number. And I was like, well, by the time you're my age, that's going to be 10 times the number. And that's a great thing about Special Olympics is you get to meet so many new people, so many new friends, and you might share the one interest, but it doesn't mean that you don't share many, many other interests as well. So
What about like
that's
famous celebrities too? Same thing?
everyone. I mean, you know, you'll find out that people that have great success in life, they often want to give back. And that's one of the reasons another reason I got out of coaching is I didn't have enough time to get involved in things like this. And, you know, so now I do, and I'm really passionate about that. I'm excited to get back into the community and see people face to face. The pandemic's been hard on all of us. I'm not someone that normally likes being behind a screen, as Steve would tell you. Like I like being in person and seeing people. So, you know, hopefully we can all get a chance to share that together as well.
And I got one more why.
Okay.
The maritime aquarium. I got involved with Special Olympics to help them out with maritime stuff, and one of the staff members got me interested in becoming advisor board of directors. So
Awesome.
I'm on the board of directors, and I get to help them advise of what needs to be done.
That's good. I'm a very, very big ocean fan and have some of my favorite animals are out of the ocean right there. So just another thing I'm passionate about. So good for you.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sally. So let's see. Brittany wanted you to know that she does swimming for Special Olympics and magazines. And then let's see, Alicia's had her hand up for a while. Let's go over to Alicia.
Dead. I afraid that I am in my afraid that I am afraid that I am in my pajamas. That I have a clue. To that. So what is it? I've been doing swimming and bowling. And then I also do the ping plunge in Thailand. That was fun, you know? So what do you do for a living? Like in general?
What do I do for work?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm part of an organization in financial services. So we help people with you know, their savings, their retirement, insurance, and we try to help people plan for their future so that they can have the money to do the things that they want to do. So that's generally what our company does. And I would say that swimming and bowling are awesome sports because no matter how old you are, or how young you are, how you can always continue to do those things. We do a lot of bowling events with our organization. I'm always amazed to see who's a really good bowler and who's not. And then as far as swimming is, I'm swimming in the ocean every chance I get. That's for sure. I love to swim.
I do swim too, but I can go to the bad swimming club, but I go every Wednesdays. So I can go to like next week. So I get this break out of me, you know?
Good. Keep it up. Great sports.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Alicia. All right, we're going to go to Dan and then Ryan. So Dan, why don't you go next?
Jim, may I talk to you a second?
Sure.
In the past weekend on Saturday, and there was a penguin plunge there, and everybody is doing it. Everybody's doing it, and Jennifer is plunging there, and I saw everybody there, and Bo was there, Lisa was there, everybody I know, and I give speeches there.
So these were all people that you were there that you got to share in an event you got to see?
Well, I saw people down there. Alicia
like
and
that?
I we were down there, and I support them a lot.
That's important, right?
So
I mean,
that's
being
why
around others.
I was there.
Good. So did you like seeing the people? Did you like talking to the people? Did you like watching?
Well, but I do. I care about people.
Good.
I talk to people a lot, and they
So
knew my name
that sounds
very
like
well.
Daniel, that's your why. You care about people. You like people.
Yes.
listen, if you're going to have one skill in this world, I would think that that's the most important skill you ever got to have. That's for sure. And that's
Yes,
really why
I do have
we do what we
skills.
do. Yeah. So that's awesome. Did you have fun?
Yes, we have fun down there.
So you just saw the second most important thing. You had
I
fun.
support them a lot.
Good. If it's not fun, then I would also say sometimes then maybe it's not worth doing. But sometimes we got to do things that are not fun.
No,
Yard
that's what
work,
I do
chores,
with
things like
people.
that. Good. Well, that sounds like you really have a good idea of what your why is, Daniel. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, we're going to go to Ryan and then Megan. Go ahead, Ryan.
Okay.
I want to do the why first.
Okay.
Oh, buddy.
Oh, we're having a little trouble hearing
I
you,
can't
Ryan.
hear him.
It started out and then it went off.
Yeah. Looks like
And
he
he froze
froze.
too.
Could be the internet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And the reason I love understanding Special Olympics is because I've been doing it for 29 years. And I do respect everyone. I do understand everyone. Sometimes I overdo it sometimes. So the truth, and I love friendships. I love hanging with people. But the point is, I do care for others. It's because I'm learning to accept empathy for moving forward.
I think that's awesome. And I think you've coached, you might have coached as long as I have, which is crazy. But I mean, I coached at college for 20 years, which is hard to believe. My hair would be gray if I had some hair, but I don't have any hair anymore. So, but yeah, I've been coaching a long time. So, well, good for you. I hear a recurring theme, and it's about caring for others. And you remember what I said is leadership is about taking care of others. And it sounds like every single one of you has demonstrated that in some of your comments. So I certainly appreciate that.
Yeah, and the last thing is, I've been so far. I enjoy competition. I love everybody, but the truth is, I really want to explain this for all Glow Messengers. You guys are the best. You guys make me thrive. You guys are the real deal. Thank you. And I do love Debbie Horn for leaving our athlete leadership. That is best.
All right. Well, now that's an awesome thing to say, because I think that you have to share and tell each other how much you appreciate one another. It's another thing. I think people, sometimes it's the smallest thing. It's a good job. It's a pat on the back. It's hey, you played well today. You competed. I really like, the way that you said something or did something. I also think making someone feel good is a really big, important part of everybody's day. I try to do it every day. We had someone in my staff get engaged today, and I was so excited. And then another member of our staff announced that she's having twin girls, and I was really, really excited about that. So it's okay to share that, and celebrate other people's wins.
Yeah, and I'm very big on inclusion also.
Absolutely. Everybody should have a place at the table. Everybody should be involved.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thanks, Ryan. We think you're the best too. All right, Megan, let's hop over to you. Go ahead, Meg.
So, Jim, I did Special Olympics for over 15 years. And I've been a Global Messenger for a while. And when I was in high school, I did unified track team when I was in high school.
Awesome.
And the other thing I want to tell you, you have a great friend named Steven, and he is look up to you, and he's a good friend to you, and he'll always be there for you.
Yes, he will. I'm looking forward. We just started working together, but I feel like I've worked with him for years, and we're very, very similar in a lot of ways. So again, Steve's on our team because we knew he was a really valuable asset and player, and we know that he's going to make our team better. So, and you want to have people on your team that you like to be around and you like to be with. So, and Steve and I are actually going down to Florida at the end of the month for a work event, and I know we're going to have a good time. We're going to get a lot out of it. So it's work, but we'll also have some fun too. But
and also, Jim,
ahead.
I did unified bowling too, and
Okay.
I have a new partner now, so I'm kind of happy. And
Good.
my average is over 200.
Holy smokes, that's unbelievable.
Wow.
I could never even come close to that. I'm in the gutter most of the time, but
Not me.
I
don't do
I
that.
do
I know,
enjoy
I
it.
know. I do like when
I love
when
it.
when I can.
Yeah. And what I would also say is, back to the track, I ran for sports and I kept in shape and I still do, but I got to be honest with you, running is not my favorite thing. And I know that sounds so weird for someone that played a lot of sports, but I could not do track. I could not do track.
Excuse me, Jim, what events you used to do? Because I do track very well.
I didn't do it. They got me into it for a little while. I think I threw the javelin, and then after that, I was like, I went over to play lacrosse after that. There was just, I don't know. I always ran so that I could go and compete, and track just seemed like I was never going to get to the compete. Even though you were competing, it sounds silly, but it was not my favorite sport.
Because I do long distance races. I run a 800, a 400. I used to run a 1500, and I did long jump.
Listen, I get on the treadmill every day, and if I can get 30 minutes on the treadmill, that's about as much running as I'm going to do.
I have that in my
Yeah, good luck to you with that.
And
Thank
Jim,
you
I
for
do
Okay,
a
we've
sharing.
lot
got
of
about 5 more minutes. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Looks like Albert's got a question. Go ahead, Albert.
Jim, do you have any, do you work with any of our athletes in your business with training or doing events with them?
I would say this, not yet, but I got a feeling after this, we're going to get involved with a few more folks. So that's the goal.
And Jim, what's your favorite sport?
You know what? It's going to surprise everybody, but my favorite sport is football. I loved it. It's from the youth level all the way up. I actually went to college to play football and lacrosse. And when I got to, this is another kind of life-changing event. When I got to college, I actually became a diabetic. So I wasn't able to go up in the weight and down in the weight that you would need to for those two sports. And listen, playing two sports in college is hard. And, managing your academics and everything else you have going on. So I had to kind of choose. And I chose lacrosse because it was better lifestyle for me to maintain the weight and keep the health that I wanted to. But I'll be honest with you, I miss it every single day. It still is. There's not a lot of college or NFL football that I don't watch. And that's just, even though I coach collegiately, and even though lacrosse was my main sport after that, football is still my main sport. Don't tell anybody.
Okay.
Dino, did you have a
Very
question or
funny.
have a comment?
Yeah, I do. It's more like a information I can give to Jim. Hey, this is Jim. This is Gino Caro. I'm on the board for Special
Nice to meet you,
Olympics.
Gino.
I also run a speed and agility company on my own. So I work with
Awesome.
several young athletes, and I've done a lot of work with the Special Olympic athletes as far as training. But we got a guy coming in April 28th, right, Deb, to speak at one of our Zoom meetings. His name is Ronan Jacoby, lacrosse player for Rutgers University.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you knew the name.
I don't know him, but I know of him.
Yep. He
Went
played
to
with his
Wesleyan, I
father
believe.
his father runs 3D lacrosse. He plays
Yep.
for 3D lacrosse, but he's also a Glastonbury High alumni.
Yep. So
And
no,
he'll be here
So
in a couple
Gino,
weeks.
is that the 28th or 27th, you said?
I believe it's the 28th, right?
I'll
Deb?
send you the date tomorrow, you guys, just to make sure you have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to
And
interview
So,
with the.
if you're
thing
not
of
doing
Bill-
anything,
with
that'll be
Dave.
great for you to chime in if you want.
but I know of him, as a player, and I know of him as and his dad a little bit. But it kind of goes back to relationships, and it's such a small world. Now, I've been kind of removed from that space for about 9 or 10 years right now, but I certainly know of him, and he had a very successful career at Wesleyan University. And I know his father's involved in the 3D. They always try to get me to come back and coach. And I'm always just like, to me, I would rather spend some of my time now with my family and with my dogs, and I gave away a lot of my time.
Yeah.
So I try not to do it that much. But no, I saw that on the schedule, and I'm sure he'll be a great addition to your speakers.
Yeah.
Well,
He may know of me, he may not. I have no idea.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Thanks for sharing that. So I think, does anybody else have any questions? We're coming up on 5 o'clock. So did I miss
Well,
anything?
Well, I have,
Yeah. Go ahead, Vincent.
well, why I have to go to Special Olympics? Why? To compete and to get out, and I mean to get out and about, and 3, to meet friends.
Good. Those are all good because, as I said earlier, the best friendships that I still maintain to this day are the people I played youth sports with, the people I played high school sports with, the people I played collegiate sports with. They're still some of my best friends. And we might have all went on to different levels later on, but we shared that same camaraderie as a team and a passion for a particular sport. In my case, it was many, many different sports. You'll never forget the memories. You're never going to forget the laughs. You're never going to forget, the after the game or competitions and the fun stuff that comes with it. And that's what I want to make sure that you guys know today is that competition is fun. Being part of a team is fun. Impacting another person's life is fun. And finding out a little bit more about what makes them tick and asking them about their why, which I challenge all of you to continue to do, that's fun too. Getting to learn somebody's story and their journey is fun.
Oh, and Jen, I was thinking with that plunge I mentioned earlier, maybe I'll try
Yeah.
to get you and Steve next year. Depends what happens.
I agree. I'm already going to speak for Steve. He's already in. If I'm in, he's in. He's got to do it too.
Oh, that'll be great. Yeah, that way I can get you two
Yeah,
involved. And
happy to do
I
it.
have an idea, Jim.
oh, that,
Sure.
I have an idea. Maybe Steven can be our next guest on the Zoom call next time.
that's what I was thinking
I heard
too.
he's an
I'd like to
excellent
see
speaker.
Steven.
I think you should
Awesome.
get him on the schedule.
We definitely will, Megan. That's a great idea.
In the
So,
future,
Oh, and
I'll be
Steve, I'll
back.
say hi to my father for you since
Say
you
hi
know
to
him
your
so
dad
well.
for me. Yes.
Excellent.
I love seeing everybody. I'm happy to come back, and Debbie and I will coordinate that.
Oh,
Love it.
I'd love to see you
Thank
in
you,
person
Steven.
sometime.
Fingers crossed,
Yeah.
we're going to do an in-person training in the fall. We're working on
Hope
it.
so.
Definitely,
I'd love to
yes.
get back to
For Max just says can work, but I can put on for my muscle. That's different.
And I
Okay.
love the dances at the summer games. That's the best part.
I'm not a big dancer. I don't know. I don't know if you need a dancing.
Unfortunately,
I
Jim,
need a
I'm
great
gonna
coach
have
for
to
that.
miss summer games this year because I'm gonna be at Disney World at that time.
Well, that's pretty good too. Disney's not a
Yeah,
bad place to
it
be.
is.
So,
All right, you guys, I think we're going to wrap up. It's a little after 5.
Bye, Steven.
Great conversation. We're so grateful to have Jim join us. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Yay.
Great.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks
Bye.
got it.
for helping
Thank
us
you.
out.
Enjoy your
All
life.
of you for
Enjoy
joining us.
Easter.
Hey, everybody.
We'll see you
Thank
again
you very
soon.
much for having
And
me. I
we'll
look
send out
forward to
recordings
meeting all of you in
again.
person
Bye,
sometime.
Steven.
And Gino will be up next.
Hi, Dan. You're the man.
Thanks,
you,
Jim.
Barney.
Debbie.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night. Stay safe.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.